This image from around 1896 shows a handsome cab driver in New York City. Hansom cabs were an essential part of urban transportation, offering a quick and affordable way to navigate the busy streets before the rise of motor vehicles. In early 1900s New York, enterprising children like these made a living on the streets. As bootblacks, they carried polished boxes and brushes, offering quick shines to passers-by. Just one of many ways kids help support their families in a growing city. In 1896, New York's Department of Street Cleaning used horse-drawn carts like this to collect household trash. Before modern sanitation trucks, workers hauled waste by hand, keeping the growing city livable one barrel at a time. This photograph from 1896 shows an ash collector work on a residential street in New York City. In the late 19th century, coal was the primary source of heat, and its residue, ashes, had to be removed regularly. This photograph from 1896 captures a rare sight, one of New York City's earliest motorized taxis, standing at the curb amid the bustling city streets. In an era when horse-drawn wagons still dominated, this gasoline-powered vehicle symbolized a shift toward modern transportation. This image from the early 1900s captures a young Western Union bicycle courier standing proudly with his delivery bike on a wet New York City street. In an age before smartphones and instant messaging, couriers like him were the backbone of urban communication. A young courier in a crisp 1896 uniform stands confidently by a fire hydrant as horse-drawn carriages and pedestrians bustle around him. Elevated train tracks cast shadows over the cobblestone street, while men in bowler hats and women in long dresses add to the lively city scene. A young shoe shiner in 1896 stands ready on a busy city sidewalk, his kit proudly strapped to his back. Horse-drawn carriages clatter past tall brick buildings, filling the cobblestone street with life. A seasoned street vendor sits by his wooden barrel stand in 1890s New York, surrounded by goods and the bustling Good Stenson's coal yard. Horse-drawn carts roll past as pedestrians in period attire weave through the lively street scene. A double-decker bus on Fifth Avenue in 1890s New York carries passengers along the bustling street. Tall buildings and storefronts, like the Metropolitan sign, frame the scene as horse-drawn carriages pass by. Pedestrians in period attire add to the vibrant energy of this historic moment. Two egg sellers stand proudly behind wooden crates filled with eggs in 1890s New York. Horse-drawn carts and bustling pedestrians line the busy street, framed by historic buildings. This lively market scene captures the daily commerce of a bygone era. A horse-drawn fire escape stands ready on a snowy New York street in the 1890s, flanked by tall brownstone buildings. Firefighters in period uniforms prepare the ladder as pedestrians watch in the winter chill. A knife sharpener works diligently at his pedal-powered grindstone on a bustling New York street in the 1890s. Elevated train tracks loom overhead as curious boys watch, adding to the lively urban atmosphere. A cabbie in 1890s New York sits atop his horse-drawn carriage, ready to ferry passengers through the city. Tall brick buildings and the Grand Union Hotel loom in the background, framing the cobblestone street. Newly arrived immigrants gather in 1890s New York, surrounded by trunks and sacks of their belongings. Men in bowler hats stand together, some unloading a cart, as bear trees in at a cold season. This poignant scene captures the hope and challenges of starting anew in a bustling city. A man in 1890s New York stands with two watering cans, collecting water from a street hydrant. Tall brick buildings and a few pedestrians frame the cobblestone scene, reflecting daily life in the city. A young newsboy in 1890s New York stands on a bustling street, clutching a stack of newspapers to sell. Tall buildings and a covered walkway frame the scene as pedestrians pass by, capturing the city's daily rhythm. A newsboy and newsgirl stand outside New York City Hall in the 1890s, clutching stacks of newspapers as child labor was commonplace. The grand architecture looms behind them while pedestrians in period attire pass by, reflecting a bustling era. This scene highlights the stark reality of children working in a time when it was considered normal. A newspaper vendor in 1890s New York sits in a wheelchair, diligently selling papers from a makeshift stand on a cobblestone street. Horse-drawn trams and grand buildings line the background, hinting at the city's vibrant pulse. An organ grinder stands on a New York sidewalk in the 1890s, his instrument ready to play as he holds a hat for coins. Behind him, ornate ironwork and grand buildings reflect the city's architectural charm of the era. A peddler in 1890s New York stands proudly on a cobblestone street, displaying an array of suspenders draped over his shoulders. Tall ships and ornate buildings loom in the background, hinting at the bustling port life of the era. A street vendor of shoelaces stands on a New York sidewalk in the 1890s, his basket brimming with goods near an ornate iron fence. A policeman and a street cleaner stand together on a New York street in the 1890s, near a fire hydrant under elevated train tracks. Horse-drawn trams and bustling storefronts frame the scene, reflecting the city's industrious spirit. A postman in 1890s New York stands poised on a city sidewalk, clutching letters in a satchel, ready to deliver amid the urban hum. A pretzel vendor stands poised on a New York street in the 1890s, his basket brimming with freshly twisted treats beneath the shadow of an elevated train. Horse-drawn trams rumble by on 6th Avenue, weaving through the cobblestone chaos of a thriving urban hub. This powerful image from the 1890s shows two ragpickers, men who made a living buying and selling old, second-hand goods, resting beside their overloaded handcart in the heart of New York City. In an era before organized recycling, these street merchants were essential to the urban economy, salvaging what others discarded. In the late 19th century, snow removal in New York City was a slow, grueling process. Teams of laborers worked with nothing more than shovels, clearing the streets by hand. The snow was loaded into horse-drawn carts and hauled away, one heavy scoop at a time. In 1890s New York City, keeping the streets clean was a monumental task. This man was one of the many street cleaners responsible for maintaining basic sanitation in a city teeming with horses, carts, and constant movement. His job was not just about sweeping dust. It involved the daily removal of horse manure, trash, and debris that collected rapidly on the unpaved roads. Jitney on 5th Avenue in Manhattan. On January 31st, 1915, the New York Times wrote about a new and astonishing kind of business which has swept across the country from west to east like a hurricane. In 1944, during the heat of summer and the hardships of World War II, New York City children found joy and escape in Central Park. The lake became their playground, offering moments of freedom in a rapidly changing world. On a sweltering summer day in 1900, New Yorkers lined up for free ice, an essential relief before the age of air conditioning. Distributed by charities, it was a lifeline for working families and children in overcrowded tenements. Children bathing in water from a hydrant. New York, 1939. In the scorching summer of 1911, New York children gathered to lick blocks of ice, finding relief outside a local grocery store.